This is the Flatiron district in Manhattan, looking north up Broadway at 25th Street. And this is Madison Square Park. And that was where the clock is. That was the New York Life building. It's still called that. I don't know if New York Life is in there still. Some newer apartment and office buildings along 23rd Street on the south side. And that building right there, the triangular building, that's the famous Flatiron building for what this whole district is named after. And this is an older apartment building. Maybe it was once a hotel. And now we've done the complete 360. This is also an impressive building here at the northwest corner of 25th and Broadway. So it's a mixture of old and new, and a lot of the old architecture is just beautiful, and hopefully it'll always be preserved, because any city needs its history and not to be just new and modern exclusively. So that's the Flatiron district of Manhattan. This is the plaque on the New York Life building, and we'll take a look at it stepping further back. It was designed by Cass Gilbert and completed in 1928, and it's right here on the corner of Madison Square Park. And I'm looking for the location actually of the original Madison Square Garden, and I believe it was on this corner, the northeastern corner of 26th and Madison, but it could be such a thing that it was actually on the site of the park. But I'll look for a plaque. We'll take a quick walk around Madison Square Park here. They call this area of Manhattan the Flatiron district. Let's take a look back at the New York Life building. They said it was the most important high-rise building built between World War I and World War II, and that it represented a transition from the Gothic style to the Art Deco style. So this is being used for various purposes. I see people skipping rope and another person doing boxing training. People walking their dogs. People just taking a walk. This is election day in the US. Finally, we have the longest political campaigns. They're excruciatingly long. So it's finally the end, although from what I hear, it'll take a while to tabulate the votes, especially if it's a close election. It could drag on and on. As the wheels of democracy grind slowly here in the Western Hemisphere. So it's a really architecturally rich area. Look at some of the buildings through the trees. The Nomad District, this is 5th Avenue right here. The Nomad District sort of splinters off diagonally away to the northwest, but it's just where there were a lot of old hotels. It's an area that I want to just walk up because I think it's kind of overlooked by most New Yorkers. But it's still here, and it's worthy of taking a look at, whether you're from New York or from out of town. Just looking to see who this is. Last name Farragut. Could be Civil War general. This looks like it was a fountain. Maybe it is during warmer weather. They've got some plaques on some of the trees, white ash. And you'll see this a lot in New York City parks. They'll have a green area, but it'll be fenced off. So to keep people from going on it. It's more like to look at. But maybe there's a gate somewhere if you wanted to have a picnic. If not, then there's plenty of benches. So it's early November of 2020, and we've had a really cool, rainy October. And yesterday was a very brisk start to the work week. Very windy, almost bitterly cold. But this week it's warming up gradually. And it'll be nice with warmer temps. So I'm looking for more historical background in this area. This street where you see the buses, that's 23rd Street. That's a major cross street. And this is a great angle to look at the building that the whole district is named after, the Flatiron building. And it's such a iconic New York building. It's got scaffolding enshrouding it on the two ends, north and south. But it's a very slim building, flat, you might say, and but it's actually like in a triangular shape as Broadway cuts down through Manhattan. Manhattan's on a grid, but Broadway doesn't behave like all the other streets. It just angles and cuts across diagonally. So you get a lot of triangular corners, and the Flatiron building makes the most of its location. West on 23rd. architectural gems here. Look at this building with the gold dome. And this red brick Victorian building here right on the corner of 5th Avenue and 23rd Street. Just looking up at the Flatiron building. Okay, let's cross over. I just want to see if there's a plaque. I know it was designed by someone famous, but the name does not come to me. I mean, look at this storefront space with the curved glass. And the columns on the inside. You gotta get used to scaffolding in New York. It's just everywhere. They have to erect it to inspect the buildings. Here's a plaque over here. Naturally, it's on the National Register of Historic Places. Originally named the Fuller Building. Completed in 1902. Daniel Burnham, yeah, he's from Chicago, and he was the head architect for the Chicago World's Fair in 1893. That's been written a lot about. So what a building. Daniel Burnham also designed the main train station in Pittsburgh that I talk about and show in another video on Pittsburgh train stations. He was primarily known as an architect whose works were in Chicago, but he has this one here in New York and a train station in Pittsburgh. It's also called the Ladies Mile Historic District, which is part of the Flatiron District, which is next to Nomad, which is east of Chelsea. You know, there's all these different neighborhoods that cross over and overlap and blend into each other. There's the Empire State Building up 5th Avenue here. We'll walk back north. There's some workers on a scaffolding. How would you like that job? Sit on the top of a high-rise building in Brooklyn where they were all set up to go over the top of the edge and down, and it just makes you feel weak-kneed to just look at that. But there's so many people that work on high-rises, either building them or inspecting them or maintaining them. And they're just cut from a different cloth. Now this store, it might have just been recently boarded up. That's been a thing, unfortunately, in Manhattan, that a lot of the stores, they're anticipating unrest after the election. I don't know what that says about what people think the results of the election are going to be, but they've boarded up again. So you can catch a subway here. They are in the W Broadway line. I don't think that this store has been boarded up since the summer. I feel like it's freshly boarded up, but I don't go by here all the time, so I can't say for sure. Beautiful clock, the 5th Avenue building. And I believe at 205th Avenue, this was the site of the former 5th Avenue Hotel. Tiffany restored this clock, the famous jeweler. There's just so much to look at. I don't know when to stop, but I'm gonna have to stop here. But it's a really interesting area of the city to check out, so I recommend it. All right, thanks for joining me on the walk around the Madison Square Park.